all right, Graham, I like what you're saying. Help me break out of this matrix. I want to live in that world of cooperation and enjoyment and love. I don't want to live in this world of fear and oppression anymore. So what do I do? So how do you tap into your total self? Well, what we need to do is we need to peel away all of the lies, the pain, the trauma that's not our genuine and authentic selves, and heal them. And we need to learn how to take that pain or the trauma, whatever it is, and use those as catalysts to say, hey, that's not me. If you remember, you go back to that circle of learning, right? Part of that is saying, hey, wait, that's not who I am. That's not my truth. I am not this, I am that. And then taking the steps to ingrain that new identity. And as you ingrain this new identity, that identity, I'm assuming, by the way, that this identity is in line with your genuine and authentic self. And as you operate in your identity as your genuine and authentic self, operating from a place of love, not fear. And by the way, and we say fear, that doesn't mean necessarily cowering in a corner. That's a simple way to think about fear versus love is fear says, a fear-based perspective means that it has somebody focused on taking an action because of something that they don't want to happen. That's fear-based. I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to do that. That's fear. When you say, I'm doing this because this is the outcome that I want, this is what I want for myself, that is much more aligned with love and knowing that you're going to be supported. And so one tip, I guess, that I'll give you to think about in how to reconnect with your total self is that all the catalysts that you experience in life are generally are serving the purpose of helping you to understand, appreciate, accept, and then ultimately love yourself, all of yourself. Right? When you look back and you say, oh, these are the things that I was embarrassed of or ashamed of or felt guilty about in the past, you shed those and those now become, I understand why I did that. I had to learn this. I had to go through that lesson. I had to experience this because it gave me this learning. It helped me to become this type of a person. Or I needed to go through that so that it prepared me for these other skills that I needed later on in life. And when you can look back at your history and give yourself credit for the courage that it takes to learn, the courage that it takes to keep going. And then you start to realize, wow, I'm a pretty awesome person. I went through this, and this. And instead of being a victim of my circumstances, right? I'm not just a survivor, but I'm a thriver. I use these catalysts to become my best self. That's when things start cooking. And when you start to live that approach, then you start to also recognize, how things are happening for you. And then gradually, the more comfortable that you continue to become as your genuine and authentic self, where you love all aspects of yourself, those barriers melt away. And that's, again, when you start to access a new perspective and gifts and wisdom. And it is a natural process. It's kind of like, you're learning about it, and then all of a sudden one day you wake up and you go, huh, all right, I guess that sticks. I now see the world this way. This makes more sense to me. And I can't even tell you. And when you experience that for yourself, you're going to be like, holy shit, that Graham guy was right. I can't believe it, but it's true. The universe is talking to me, and things do become easier. And I cannot express to you how much I want each and every one of you to experience that for yourself. That surreal feeling is just, I'll say, ah. And then the other tip that I would give you in how to reclaim your total self is also thinking about acts of service. All right? Remember, you're here to learn love, courage, and wisdom as a steward. So the more that you operate inside of that personal algorithm for yourself, the easier it's going to be to peel away those different layers as well. And then the last thing that I'm going to leave you with is the poor ego. I don't understand why everybody wants to kill it. Now again, there's not a uniform definition of an ego and what it is and what it stands for, but what I can tell you in my own personal journey, I have not focused on killing anything, right? Just much like your grass outside. Yes, you can put weed killer in there, but if you want to have a lush green lawn, the only way to get there is through having a healthy lawn, which comes from nutrients and fertilizer. right? So thinking of that same concept, the ego is not something, for me in my experience, right, that sense of self, all of this is actually about strengthening that sense of self. It's not about killing it. You cannot connect to your higher self by killing yourself. If you want to have a healthy lawn, you want to have a healthy self, that doesn't come from killing it. It comes from understanding it. It comes from strengthening it. It comes from nurturing it and providing the nourishment. So my sense of self I've actually focused on strengthening. However, my sense of self is not, this is not myself, right? This human suit is not myself. My consciousness, my total self, that's my identity of myself. And so if you want to think about evolving the concept of an ego from this understanding of the physical self to strengthening the total sense of self to include our total consciousness, I can assure you, you're going to find yourself having much greater success. And hey, if it was all about killing the ego, wouldn't you see a lot more happy, healthy people bouncing around all around you? That's all I'm going to say about that.